Hello everyone, wherever you are. I hope you're well and not going too stir crazy in these strange times. Welcome to my little space of normality. I never thought I'd have to show so many people around, but I have tidied up a little bit for everybody's benefit. I did read an interesting article the other day that suggested that whenever people were watching a webinar or a video conference from somebody else's home for the first time, they would spend around 15 to 20% of the time checking out the other person's room. So feel free for the short time that you got visibility of it. I do have quite a thick accent apparently, so apologies if I do use some words or phrases that you don't understand, but you will have the chance to go back and rewind. I hope you found the presentation interesting. After all, that's why we've all registered for Knowledge 20. And I sincerely hope that you can take at least one nugget of wisdom with you as you continue your journey delivering excellence to your customers or your colleagues. So if you're all comfortable and settled, let's get started. So welcome to my presentation entitled I Want It All, Managing Customer Demand Using ITBM and ITSM in ServiceNow. My name is Rob Gotkin and I hope you enjoy the next 20 minutes or so. As we move through the slides, I'll try to speak as clearly and as slowly as I can. But again, if there's any questions, please feel free to forward them to me at the end. To clarify anything that I've gone through. So before we start, a little bit about me. I'm from the United Kingdom, as you could probably tell, and I don't live in London, which is where most people think everybody in the UK lives. I live in a little city in the north of England called Hull. I have a wife and 5 children and a beautiful granddaughter, 2 beautiful cats, 1 motorcycle because my wife will only let me have 1 motorcycle. But I do have 4 guitars. I was in a band, not so much anymore because of the time consumed doing all of this. And there's the proof. And when I'm not doing other things, I'm hanging off the edge of the CN Tower like a complete idiot. But from a work perspective, I've got 12 years in the military as a communications specialist in the Royal Artillery. But for the last 21 years, I've spent my time in ITSM, wearing many different hats in multiple sectors, public and private. So hopefully I've got the experience and the knowledge to back up everything that I'm saying today. And for the last 5 years, I've been the Global Senior Service Delivery Manager for the ITSM Centre of Excellence at Veolia. I'm also the ITSM and ITBM Product Manager. So my company, Veolia, one of the biggest companies that most people have never heard of. I certainly hadn't until I started working here. We're the global leader in optimized resource management. Effectively, that means that we try to reuse as much of the resources that we consume on a daily basis more than once, whether that be water, energy, or materials. We have 170,000 employees worldwide and an annual turnover in 2019 of 30 billion US, 27 billion euros. So what I hope you will learn today, amongst other things, is to understand some of our digital challenges, the things that cause us pain, well, 5 years ago as well as now, how we've overcome some of those challenges or all of those challenges, hopefully, using ServiceNow and the Centre of Excellence that I belong to achieve pace, agility, and excellence. And at the end, hopefully, having gone through some of those cornerstones of our ITSM journeys, you'll have some things that you can take away and implement in your journeys as well. So the ITSM Centre of Excellence, 4 primary objectives amongst lots of others that we could break down. We provide service management practice, or a practice, that meets the core values of service excellence. We provide and develop the global service management toolset, which is ServiceNow. We influence and support our local ITSM capabilities to our business units across the globe. And more importantly and fundamental to everything that we do is we support our entire global business in its digital transformation journey, especially secure anytime, anywhere, any device, which in these current times is absolutely imperative and has proved supremely valuable. Move to cloud and data for business. So ServiceNow, what does it mean across Veolia? So where are we 5 years into the journey? What have we achieved so far? Well, there's quite a lot there. We're currently deployed in 45 countries, supporting 170,000 end users with 2,200 fulfillers or process users. We've translated the tool into 14 discrete languages. We use 45 out-of-the-box products of the existing ServiceNow suite. We've deployed 34 discrete self-service portals to the different business units. We've integrated with 25 other external products, and we've developed 12 custom applications and are in the process of developing our 13th, which will be our first fully mobile custom app. In 2019, as a team, we delivered 106 major projects, just over 1,000 feature enhancements, all to ServiceNow, 2,340 standard requests, and 15 on-site projects. That's where we had to get on a plane, train, or ship and travel to a customer site. But with a team of only 15 people, spread across 7 locations in 3 countries. And this is where I'm going to get to the crux of how we've, with that small percentage of people supporting such a large organization, how we've managed to do that. So the challenges that we've always faced and still face to this day, which most of which will probably resonate with the majority of you in some way, shape or form. Time. Time is always the barrier. There are only so many hours in the day and only so many things we can get done in that time. Physical language. As I mentioned earlier, we're deployed across 45 countries with at least 14 local language sets. I only speak one language, that's English. Some of my colleagues speak French and English, some speak German and English, but we don't all speak every single language. So being able to dialogue with our customers is exceptionally challenging and difficult at times. Physical geography. Obviously in these day and ages where we can't just jump on an aeroplane, it's not so much of a challenge, but where we do need to travel to customer sites, it's time consuming, it's cost consuming, and it's a difficulty. Stubbornness and resistance to change. We've all come across it. Sure, we'll come across it again. People that just do not want to change for whatever reason. Antiquated ways of thinking in combination with the resistance to change, but old technologies, old systems. How many people have heard the phrase, I don't know why I do it that way, but that's the way we've always done it. Why should I do anything different? Internal politics, like it or lump it, it's there, it's part of most businesses. In fact, I've certainly never come across a business that doesn't have some form of internal politics, which has an effect on the way that we have to do business with our customers and colleagues. Common phraseology, common terminology. For anybody that's done any form of ITIL training, it's one of the key concepts is that everybody speaks the same reference language. So what is an incident? What is a problem? What is a change? What does SDLC mean? What does agile mean? Everybody has to understand the same way of thinking. ServiceNow, in of its own self, can be a problem. It's so complicated or so broad-ranging in its capabilities and features. And a lot of our customers already understand that feature richness and capability, that it's sometimes difficult to have a conversation to slow them down, to stop them doing everything just because it is possible. Just because it's possible doesn't mean you should do it, is a common conversation I'll have with a customer. And varying levels of maturity across our customer organizations. I can have one organization that's exceptionally good at incident management where they may not be as good at change management, and vice versa across a different customer base. So having to manage those things all at the same time across 45 different BUs is exceptionally complicated. And because of all of that, nobody agrees on the same 2 things at the same 2 times. So one of our responsibilities is to manage those conflicts and try and work through to a consensus of opinion where everybody is happy with the outcome. So as I mentioned, 5 years into the journey of our global use of ServiceNow, but when we started, it was a very, very painful story. There was no clear structure or pipeline. Everything our customers wanted to do went into one bucket, and it was first come, first served. And often in some cases, who screams loudest gets first service. We only had certain people in the team that were capable or allowed to develop, which meant we were restricted in the amount of dev we could do at any given point in time. It was, as I mentioned, first come, first served approach, but all of our backlog wasn't held in ServiceNow. It was held on spreadsheets or bits of paper or referred back to emails. It just wasn't consolidated, a single system. We didn't have clear testing protocols or any form of change control. We had conflicting priorities within the team, or because we only had certain people working on certain things at certain times, you could even get the situation where two people were working on the same solution at the same time without even knowing. We had skills gaps through undertraining or lack of experience across the team, and we certainly weren't using ServiceNow to best effect to maximize the capability within the team. We had randomly spaced releases, which were slow and inconsistent in their delivery, and also very much inequality, which led to every single release had an unplanned impact, which was commonly termed in our team as Armageddon Day, which caused a huge loss of trust in our customer base, certainly at the point where we were trying to get them to trust us and trying to get on board with ServiceNow as a new capability within the organization. So what did we do? Well, over time, it's not just an overnight thing, but over the 5 years, we've adapted and evolved into what we have now, which is Veolia Agile Service Management. This is our brand for what we do. It's a new way of thinking, it's a new way of working, it's a new way of engaging, and it's certainly a new way of branding for us, ish. We combine ITIL v4, Agile principles, and DevOps, which give us reusable, adaptable, flexible, and scalable capabilities and processes. And you see there, I say it's new-ish because these things have been out there, they're in public domain. DevOps and Agile have been around certainly for a long time. ITIL, in all of its forms, has been around for donkey's years. So they're not new, but the way we've combined them, the way we've used bits that suit us and discarded bits that don't suit us, and merged the three together, give us that new way of working. So we organized ourselves, as this slide shows, it's one team, but with two modes of operation depending on what piece of work we're delivering at that point in time. Any person in the team can wear any one of these hats at any given point in time. So one of the guys that's a solution developer could be working on international feature for 1 hour, then move on to L2 support for the next 10 minutes, then be doing some application architecture, doing some business analysis with a customer for another project, can be working with one of the other solution developers and acting as a product owner, all throughout the course of 1 day. Okay, so the way the team operates off that model of structure, this slide looks quite complex. In reality, it's not. And obviously, the deck will be available for you to review afterwards, so you can take a more detailed look at this. But effectively, it's quite straightforward. From left to right, we have everything coming into our funnel, our pipeline. We go through our initial demand planning, assessment, sizing, risk, financial authority to proceed, steering committee authority to proceed, whatever the case may be. Once it's accepted and defined as a piece of work, we go through our planning cycles, whether that be quarterly, through annually, down to our 3-month PI planning using SAFe, and then into our sprint cycles using SDLC and Agile. Once it's built, it's transitioned into production, and then we operate it. The same guys who build, operate, and that's the DevOps model that we talked about earlier. We have 4 streams that cover that activity. So we have break, fix, and standard request. for the in production delivery. And then we have anything new coming through is demand to feature or demand to project. And then broken down even further to highlight the way that we use ServiceNow and overlay ServiceNow onto this structure. Everything comes in through the standard contact channels, service portal, email, or direct contact, less so email nowadays, more service portal. Everything that comes through has a record, which is either an incident, a demand, or a request, and then everything is delivered through these straightforward processes. And to show you that in context, ITSM for the entry points, for the incident and the request fulfillment, and the deployment into production, and ITBM for all of the technical build work through SDLC, Agile, or Safe. So as I mentioned, we use ServiceNow for everything. So everything we do to deliver ServiceNow is captured and held and managed in ServiceNow as well. So everything is a record, linked and related from start to finish. We can see from a change where the requirement came from, when it came, who it came from, how it was authorized, what the technical design authority was, etc., etc. We have frequent and mandatory ceremonies. So lots of meetings, but very short, very specific meetings with the appropriate members only and for no longer than is necessary. If we have a meeting planned for an hour, but it takes 5 minutes, that's fine. It finishes after 5 minutes. If it takes an hour and a half, that's also fine. And we use a combination of dashboards, workbenches, visual task boards to present and work through that information. And then we also combine that with regular process reviews using reports, metrics, and internal feedback loops to make sure that we understand how those processes are working and what improvements we can make to them as we go along. And obviously the last thing is we regularly survey our customers to confirm their satisfaction. All of the internal feedback loops and our KPIs give us that objective view of what we think we're doing, but our customers tell us how they receive that. So outcomes, as I mentioned, 5 years ago, when we started this, even up to probably 2 or 3 years ago in some cases on here, at least one major incident per month, no SLA measurement, lack of clarity in role and responsibility, very weak change process at best, monthly releases, very slow to deliver. Our customer satisfaction was woefully poor. We had long lead times and a perfection mentality. And what I mean by that is we tried to build perfect instead of building minimal viable product, for instance. We were CMMI, which is a maturity model, level 0 or level 2. And we have no DevOps concept or agile concept. Whereas now we have less than one major incident per year, and that includes at least one annual major release for major upgrade for ServiceNow. Everybody understands their role and the requirements of that role, so we can all support each other doing anybody's job. We have a fully managed change, which is dynamic and fast, capable change process, continual release. So when a piece of code comes in, if it's deemed appropriate and it's authorized, it can be built the following hour, it can be tested the hour after that, and it can be released into production the hour after that. So there's no delay by any of the processes. So far this year, and throughout the majority of last year, we've got 100% customer satisfaction score on a 10% response rate for all activities. We have a fully embedded agile culture, and we've recently been externally assessed as CMMI level 4 for our support and IT processes, and DevOps Elite for our build processes, which all equate to very unhappy customer 5 years ago, a very smiley, happy Russ now. And all because our culture is at the heart of everything we do. It's taken a long time for this culture to evolve, as it would do in any organization, but it's absolutely paramount. We've learned from ours and other people's mistakes, whether we learn from those mistakes via online communities, whether we learn them from local events like the UK Snug, or now at work, or indeed at knowledge. We're prepared to fail fast, and we're prepared to fix fast. We've adapted and evolved everything that we do, our products, our processes, and our way of thinking. We've moved to continuous delivery and continuous build. It's fast, it's quick. Sometimes things go wrong, but very small things go wrong, which are easy to fix. And we use a combination of methodologies, our own experiences, and the capability of ServiceNow combined to give us that agility and pace. We never sit still. So just because I think we're good enough now, we're CMMI level 4 or DevOps Elite, there are always things that we can do to improve on. And as a team, we work together as empowered and responsive individuals. We share, we constantly challenge each other, and we always want to do better for our customers every single day of the week. Our customers constantly give us feedback, which is exceptionally pleasing to every member of the team when these things come through. I won't spend any time going through any of these, but I've just highlighted some of the things that talk about speed, ability, turnaround, effective collaboration, and those types of things. So in conclusion, a list of things here, but I've highlighted the ones that I think are important to me, very important to me. Be passionate. If you're passionate about what you do, that'll come across when you're talking to your customers, your team, or anybody else. Be adaptable and flexible. Everything we do in IT changes minute by minute, day by day. If we don't keep up, if we get stuck in our own ways, we become one of those blockers I mentioned on one of my early slides. Encourage equality and ideation, whether that be within your team, with your customers, with your colleagues. It doesn't matter where the ideas come from. If they're good, get onto them, start using them. Get the most out of ServiceNow. It's a fantastic product, and I'm not just saying that because this is knowledge. I do actually think it's a brilliant product. Play with it, figure out how best to make use of it, and then improve your functions. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. They happen, but make those mistakes fast and then move on from them just as fast, if not faster. Understand and work and communicate with your customer as much as you can. Challenge yourselves to do better every day. And finally, keep smiling. So thank you very much for your time, everybody. I hope you found that useful. I hope you found something in there that helps you, as I mentioned at the beginning, on your journey to deliver service to your colleagues and your customers, or take some nugget of wisdom to improve your capability anywhere. Stay safe, keep smiling, as I mentioned. Enjoy the rest of the webinars that come throughout the next few weeks on knowledge. And if all being well, hopefully we'll meet again, or we get the opportunity to meet sometime next year at Knowledge 21. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your day.